And now to Ukraine, where the Institute for the Study of War reports that Russia has made no gains in territory for the first time since its invasion started. Analysts say Russian forces have largely paused their operations since surrounding a key town in eastern Ukraine. Foreign correspondent Tom Soufi Burridge joins me live now from Ukraine with more on that. Tom, what do you make of this pause?
Well, President Putin said that his troops were going to pause, Diane, so it hasn't come as a surprise. But I think it sort of tells you that the Ukrainians did withdraw from cities like Lysychansk, which the Russians have taken relatively recently in the Donbass. And what Western officials have said to me, crucially, is that whereas recently in the fight, the Ukrainians have been almost surrounded on all sides when they were in that pocket of territory near Lysychansk, now they've withdrawn and they've effectively straightened their front line. And Western officials hope and believe that the Ukrainians will be able to hold that line more easily, and crucially Western officials saying that they think that Russia might not take the rest of the Donbass before the end of this year. So it gives you a sense of where the fight's at now. But the Ukrainians, no doubt, are up against it. From first-hand testimony we've had from soldiers, the Russians are pinning them down. They've got control of the skies over there. It's going to be a tough fight for the Ukrainians, whatever. So how is Ukraine trying to take advantage of this in any way? Well, Ukraine is definitely trying to launch counteroffensives. What we're seeing with US-supplied medium-range rocket systems, it is launching rockets into Russian-occupied eastern Ukraine and southern Ukraine. We've seen evidence that they're hitting targets that kind of debilitate the war machine that Russia uses to try and take land, particularly in the Donbass. We're seeing evidence that the Ukrainians are trying to push in the south near a city called Kherson, which the Russians took at the beginning of the war. But we're not seeing any clear evidence that the Ukrainians are making any clear breakthroughs. And really, in the Donbass, from those accounts from both a Ukrainian soldier and a US fighter who's been involved in the fight out in the Donbass very recently, they paint a bleak picture of really one-way traffic, that the Russians are taking territory and the Ukrainians are very much up against it.
Now, a top Russian official says that Russia only considers nuclear weapons as a deterrent, saying, quote, "We behave like a civilized country." How does that compare to Russia's past rhetoric on nuclear weapons? And do you see this as maybe an attempt to de-escalate?
Look, my take on this, Diane, is that what we get from Russia and from the Kremlin on most things is mixed messages. And it's a deliberate tactic. What Russia likes to do is they like to muddy the waters. One minister will say one thing, another minister will say another. And in the Western media, traditionally, we weren't so wise at knowing how to call that. The reality is that on nuclear weapons, many government ministers within the sort of Russian state apparatus have said that really it is a last resort. And most analysts in the West believe that the nuclear threat is relatively low right now. I think at the moment this is about a conventional war. And really the interesting thing is, has Russia got the ammunition, the arms to last in the long term? Western officials questioning that, saying that precision-guided weapons, Russia doesn't have the stocks. But that issue is also something for Ukraine too. Can the West get enough missiles in for these new rocket systems to hit Russian targets behind enemy lines?
All right, Tom Soufi Burridge in Ukraine. Thank you, Tom. Stay safe.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.